very much, guys. We are on the desk number 2 here. Let's jump straight into this game. We still have MTW SuperNova going up against Dignitas KilleR here in the middle of game number 2. Now, the way in which this game opened was KilleR opened up with 3 hatcheries before spawning pool after seeing that SuperNova went for a command center first. At the same time, though, KilleR went for a very fast fourth off the back of that as well, trying to put on a little bit of aggression after SuperNova took a very quick third on about the 6-minute mark. So at the moment, it looks like he will end up actually morphing in that hive. We have the Spire on the way as well for KilleR. There's been this constant aggression from SuperNova in the form of Hellions. He's also been mixing in a lot of Thors here, as well as the, that blue flame with the Hellions here. So, and he's been incorporating Banshees very, very heavily into this mix. Meanwhile, what have we been seeing KilleR doing? Well, he's been walking around with these Queens, trying to protect himself from that kind of Banshee play with the majority of his composition, thanks to the fact that he's got some great creep spread going on in the middle of the map right now. So for now, we have KilleR going for Ventral Sacks here, trying to exploit the mobility of this mech force here, as it is very, very immobile in the middle of the map here. SuperNova trying to get up this planetary fortress, but he's putting on so much aggression with these Banshees all game long, getting so many drone kills, 25 on the way here, even throwing down some auto turrets to continue this aggression. He sees the hive, he sees the fact that an extra spawning pool is going to have to go down in just a little bit, because that one is almost guaranteed to die in the back. And meanwhile, he does have that greater Spire morphing in once again, getting some Broodlords out eventually, as a few Hellions run up against some Roaches. Not going to be able to do too much in that situation there, though, but with these Thors and Siege Tanks being able to push up as well, he's more than enough to be able to push back those Roaches. Now, KilleR getting up a 5th base here, retreating back to this spine crawler position that he's set himself up in the middle of the map. We have a sensor tower going down here as well to be able to allow SuperNova to just push down this middle angle, be able to know exactly where his opponent is going to be at any given point in time. And again, unit counting station, we have 56 drones to 86 SCVs. So SuperNova currently 1 game up in this best of 3. He's looking to power through the middle of the map here, really bringing the aggression to KilleR, as he needs these Broodlords morphed in, but I don't know whether or not he's going to be able to get time to. Right now, SuperNova has 2-2, pushing forward, breaking this defensive position so very easily. KilleR knows he can't engage this straight up. He did actually spread some creep as well as take double precautions to be able to block that expansion up there with that 1 borrowed Zergling. And at the same time now, KilleR so under pressure. But SuperNova going to retreat back to the safety of his tank line, as he has been a little bit caught off guard by this Broodlord transition. Right now, he doesn't have any Vikings to his name. So if KilleR was ever going to make something happen in this game, in game number 2 in this series, it would be right now. That being said, there's the double starports worth of Vikings in production here for SuperNova to be able to continue trying to stay in this game. It's been so close. Again, there is that 29 workers count lost here for KilleR in comparison to SuperNova, who's gone completely untouched throughout this entire game. But KilleR, I think he realizes now his advantage, the fact that there's not that many Vikings out. 3-3 Thors nowhere near being completed here, as that +3 weapons not done just yet. Javelin missiles do quite a surprising amount of damage to these Broodlords, but there's so many Roaches on the ground. And actually, that being said, he only has 1 or 2 Corruptors left in his composition, so the Queens are going to have to do something against these Banshees that are holding strong against this composition, and even repairing this position very nicely done here by SuperNova to keep his base alive. Now behind this, KilleR does still have those 7 Corruptors in production, adding on a few more Zerglings here as well to continue aggression against SuperNova in the middle of the map. He's not rallying them all straight to the front here, but this is such a scrappy force. It really needs to try and bust SuperNova at this point, because again, his income has been looking pretty darn good up until the point where he had this 4th base shut down. He has so many command centers in the back to be able to continue muling up, and he still has so many SCVs, 81 SCVs to the 61 drones. So if KilleR was going to make anything happen, it would have been then, but SuperNova able to thwart that aggression with absolute ferocity. And right now, KilleR just trying to gather up a few more units down in this 5th base. He's looking very thin here in terms of the drone saturation at these bases. As you can see, unit counting station right now, 12 Corruptors, 4 Roaches, and 40 Zerglings going up against what we see here from SuperNova. 172 supply right now for SuperNova against the 125 of KilleR. Again, got to reiterate, SuperNova 1 game up here, and he is that 30 supply ahead with that mech force. But as you can see, we have KilleR replenishing here with a lot more Roaches. Roaches can be good against mech as long as there's not too many siege tanks. Right now we have 3 siege tanks, 4 siege tanks. That's not too many at all. If KilleR is able to close the gap, look how quickly he did close the gap in terms of that supply count with those Roaches, able to bump that up very, very quickly here. And how many Vikings do we have out right now? 9 going up against these 12 Corruptors. Not really too much he's going to be able to do with that at this point, as we have that armor on the way for both the mech here and that air presence. Right now, though, SuperNova in a little bit of trouble once again. KilleR pushing in, trying to even up the odds here. Kills off a few free siege tanks as well as a few Thors. And right now, this Roach count looking very, very deadly indeed. How much ground DPS does he really have to deal with this? Only 3 Thors, 3 siege tanks, and a few Hellions, but they're going to go down very quickly. This Planetary Fortress going to be pivotal in this engagement, but focusing down those Thors very, very quickly there once again, but has to dive out as the Planetary Fortress just holds so strong in that position. Right now, 140 supply, 2 140 supply. Income tab showing that, oh, what in the, okay, that's a lot of mules. 4,000 mineral income a minute? I don't think I've ever seen that, but as you can see, still not too many works lost here. He's trying to push in once again with a little Roach contingent, trying to focus down siege tanks where he can do, but these Planetary Fortresses just holding so strong against what KilleR is trying to do here. I'm not sure how KilleR is going to be able to break SuperNova in this position. He still has the Raven out, so even if the Vikings are under assault from Corruptors, once those Broodlords come along, he's still going to have that point defense drone to be able to soak things up. And there we go, those Broodlord transition coming just like that, as he still throws down more command centers here to continue that macro. I think in this position, SuperNova, once he actually gets maxed out, really wants to sacrifice a little bit of that SCV count, still sitting on that 75 production, whilst, you know, they still have a little bit of a lesser drone count here from KilleR. So he wants his army to be as absolutely strong as possible, and he will be able to push through the middle here, realizing that there's not much going on, wants to clear some of that creep up, limit the mobility here of KilleR going through onto this very late stage of this TVZ. Now we have 2 command centers finishing up, again, as I said, just up in the top left-hand corner. 1 Viking flying around, trying to find some overlords, not being too aggressive with that at all. And now we have KilleR adding on a few Infestors, but where does either player go from here? SuperNova has so many minerals banked up, but really not the gas to be able to transition into, you know, the Raven counts that we've been seeing throughout this entire tournament from the likes of MVP and Empire Cass. And now he will be able to push in here once again. He still has a very air-dominant position here as that point defense drone goes down to be able to soak up some of what that Spore Crawler is doing. Meanwhile, Hellion's trying to dart down to this location, not going to be able to make too much happen as those Roaches end up cleaning that up as well. SuperNova just continuing to put this aggression on. If you could get the Hive, that would be great. Would limit his opponent from being able to take up to that Ultralisk Cavern, which would be a very sorely desired transition. Maybe later on, once this actual air battle ends up going on a little bit longer. But right now, SuperNova 40 supply up here, doing very well against what KilleR has. And again, it's all because of that income, which is actually looking a little bit waning right now for SuperNova. He just doesn't have the mule timing right now. So once those mules rain down, he will end up having that going. And actually, there we go, sacrificing, even using these to be able to repair this very nice siege tank army here. And I don't know how KilleR is going to be able to break this. How many Broodlords does he have out right now? He has 7 along with the 10 Corruptors, but look how many Vikings here. 15. Will he throw down the point defense drone? Not going to be able to do. Fungal growth go down on this entire army. Absolutely relentless assault from SuperNova as the entire force of KilleR is being decimated along with those Javelin missiles. Once they've killed off the ground force, there we go. Going to be able to push in against this airborne army of KilleR. Looking a little bit shaky right now for the Zerg as SuperNova is going to be able to see siege up this location. Not only that, but the Banshee's causing so much damage. The base does end up falling. KilleR trying to expand down to the southern location as well, but there's no mining operations going on there at all. We have 2 more Broodlords trying to kill off what they can. There's actually not really any more anti-air here, apart from these 2 Vikings that are coming along. These Corruptors, if they're able to clean those up, those 2 Broodlords going to have full control over this entire army of SuperNova. And SuperNova with this cloak, I mean, yeah, he's using the cloak, and it's been very good for him there. He really has been able to make those Banshees work for him. So cost-effective when your opponent doesn't really have the detection nor the anti-air in the close vicinity, and killing off that base once again. SuperNova knows the position he's in. We go to the income tab now. Still looking a little bit spare, but there you go. GG, guys. SuperNova will be able to take the series 2-0. And again, the way in which that game opened up on Daybreak was just so fascinating. Again, we saw a third so quickly from SuperNova after the third there from KilleR. And then so many little pokes with the Hellions, with the Banshees, multi-pronged, as KilleR went for that 4th base very quickly, stretched himself so thinly across a massive section there.